extra, read all about it. Get your copies while they last. Stop the presses.
And now for something completely different.
Are you ready for a little truth? Are we not entertained? Wisdom is the proper use of knowledge and experience. There are no safe spaces here. The truth shall make you free. It's showtime! So you want the truth, but can you handle the truth? Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into. Now that's entertainment. Enlighten me a little. What you say is quite logical. And what did we learn? Prepare yourself for a little sensory overload. I came here for the truth. 7 years ago. Stand by the roll show intro. Roll show intro in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
Hello, America, family, friends, and listeners all around this planet we call home. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show. I am Craig L. Hayes. It is the 18th of August, 2024, and we're going to get into a subject today that I was discussing with a friend the other day, and the question was pointing out the difference between Democrats, between Republicans, between libertarians, between independents. And I thought, well, I could probably do one show on each one of those topics, and I probably will. But let's start with this. I was reading through the GOP agenda, the Republican agenda. There's 20 items on there. And I think if I take and just go one at a time, I can kind of give you a real quick who's in favor of it and who's against it. And that should tell you a lot about what's going on in this country. So the number one thing on the agenda for the Republicans when Trump gets back in there as president and they take over control of the Senate and they maintain the House is the following. Number one, seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. Well, I'll call it the illegal alien invasion. I hate calling them migrants because migrants do things by the law. You migrate because you're allowed to. You don't do things against the law and you have to use the terminology migrant. So anyhow, Republicans, conservatives, constitutionalists, we're for that. Us libertarians, and I am a libertarian, I'm a constitutional conservative libertarian that's voting Republican, so I have some say in a primary election. We are for this. We believe that a border needs to be maintained and people need to have orderly immigration into this country. The purpose of immigration is to make the country better, not to import everybody's criminals, drugs, sex offenders, supply this nation with child sex slaves, etc. The Democrat Party is against this. The American Communist Party is against this. Marxists are against this. Socialists are against this. So on one side, we want to seal the borders, protect people, protect citizens, and make the life good for Americans. The Democrats and all their allies that are Marxist, socialist, communists, whatever you want to call it, fascists, they're against it. They love flooding this country because they want to change the dynamics in this country from, what should we say, from the people who are supposed to be here, citizens, and give rights and grant all kinds of things to people who are not here legally so that they can vote for them. So that's the difference on a couple things there. Number two is carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. I've heard a couple of people say, well, how would you get 15 to 20 million people that are here illegally because of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democrats out of this country? Oh boy, it wouldn't be that difficult. It'd be so simple to get them out of here. First, you seal the border, then you move on to deputizing everybody that's in law enforcement and finding out who they are and deporting them, getting them out of this country. A lot of people say, well, other countries won't take their people back, and they've said they won't take them back. And it's like, fine. Then they don't get to do business in this country. They get no foreign aid. They get nothing. You get nothing. And if you're here illegally, you get nothing. You don't get any kind of health care. You don't get any welfare. You don't get any kind of benefits whatsoever. You don't get education. You don't get anything. You have to prove that you're here legally. You have to prove you're a citizen. You have to prove that you deserve to have any of these things, not just handed to you because you broke the law and came into this country. Now, that's the libertarian side, the constitutional side, the Republican side. Surprise. The Democrats are against this. So let me see. There's 2 of the 20 so far. We've gone through 2 of them. Democrats, communists, socialists, they're against these things. They want these people in here and they want to take and give them everything and anything they can. And they'll even set up sanctuary cities. Well, fine. Your sanctuary cities get nothing, no federal aid in whatsoever until you start coughing up the people. You tell people who are hiring them, it's going to be very simple also. You do not hire them. You do not allow them to work because if you do, it's a $500,000 fine and 6 months in jail for every offense. Ooh. That just dried up the desire for anyone to come here or hire these things for cheap labor. It's not cheap labor anymore, is it? Yeah. So that takes care of that one. Democrats are against it. Number 3, end inflation and make America affordable again. Okay, it's on the agenda. How do you do that? How do you make inflation come down? The only reason inflation goes up is by government spending. The only way you stop it is to stop government spending. You have to stop it. And I'm sorry, GOP, you can put this on there, but you're disgusting too, because during George W. Bush's 8 years, you guys spent like drunken sailors when you were in the House and in the Senate. Us libertarians were disgusted by you guys. So don't point the fingers at Biden and say, well, just throwing money around like drunken sailors is bad. Democrats are disgusting about that stuff. They just throw money because they know it goes around, it gets laundered and comes back into the party. All these groups that get these things from climate change people and groups and stuff like that, they donate to Democrats, to the Democrat Party. It's just a laundering system, okay? So Republicans, it's very simple. Quit spending money, too. If you're going to take over control, you're going to take over what's going on in Washington, D.C., you have to stop spending money. If you go $1 over what's coming in, then you are the problem, too. I don't want to hear over 10 years we're going to decrease the federal deficit by, $300 billion. No, you're not. One Congress cannot bind future Congresses on spending. The only way it stops is by you. So Republicans, if you get this is the one I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching you guys if you get into power. This number 3, if you violate that, then I'm done with you completely, just like the Democrats, done with them too, because they will violate that every chance they get. They want to spend money because they know it comes back to them. That's all they have to say about that. Here's the next one, number 4, make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Oh, they could have sat there and say, again, remember how Donald Trump, we were selling our oil to other places because we had so much oil, natural gas, everything was coming out of the ears. Joe Biden and his Democrats went in there and stopped all that and made us enslaved again to Middle East terrorists like Iran and others. Venezuela, people that are not our friends because they love these people. Okay, Republicans, we're for this. Libertarians, we're for this. We want to be energy independent. We want to be able to tell the rest of the world, we don't need your oil. We'll just produce our own right here, and we'll set the price on what we're going to do. Remember, Donald Trump had $2 gasoline? Those days. Then all of a sudden, what happened? Oh, yeah. Biden and Kamala Harris went in there. And now we have $4, $5, $6, $7 a gallon gas. Doing a great job there. Remember, she's just as bad as Joe Biden at this. In fact, she's probably worse. And if she gets in there, it will be worse. She's disgusting and horrible. Oh, here we go. Quit outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower again. Yeah, well, how do we do that? I'm sorry. Republicans under George W. Bush, you guys watched business after factory go to China, and you did nothing about it. You didn't stop it. You didn't tell these businesses, you leave, well, your tariffs are going to be higher because we're not letting you destroy our nation so you can make huge profits. The libertarian side of me sits there and says we have no real business in talking about any of this stuff other than keeping government out of our lives on this. Democrats don't care if everything is outsourced. They really don't care. Because the corporations that do this stuff give them massive donations. You know, everything from Disney, Nike, Apple, Google. You can just go down the line. They all donate massively to the Democrats. So outsourcing and screwing your own people over, screwing your own citizens over is perfectly fine with the Democrat Party. They do it every chance they get. Republicans, do you really care about the people in this country? See, I don't have a problem pointing out the facts of things. Republicans, are you going to go in there and along with and getting rid of the inflation problem by not spending money? Are you going to take and make sure that the factories and stuff are brought back here? Are you going to make sure that our pharmaceutical companies manufacture everything here instead of going to China and having them? You know, they hold a gun to our head, and then you try to negotiate with them. You can't negotiate when people have a gun to your head. So are you going to take and tell all these pharmaceutical companies that produce these life-saving and important drugs, get your butts back here into this country? Because if you don't, you're out. You're done. You can't bring your stuff in here. We'll encourage others through massive tax cuts and stuff, tax breaks, whatever it takes to bring these factories into our country again and manufacture drugs for Americans by Americans. Your bottom line, you complain about the labor and how much it costs in this country to operate, yeah, and then all you do is you take it over there and you still act like you're paying the same wages just so you can increase your bottom lines. You're filthy, disgusting animals. Screw the American people over just for $1. You know, at least the Democrats do it because they're doing it for power. They'll screw the American people over in 2 seconds if it gets them another vote, if it gets them another donation, if it gets them anything that increases their scope of power, influence, and control. Democrats have no problem doing that. Republicans, if you're doing that just so you can make more money, yeah, you're just as diseased as they are. Well, here's the next one. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Well, it's okay. Here's my libertarian side. There shouldn't be any income taxes anyway, because income taxes are nothing more than government-sponsored slavery. Democrats love taxes. Remember hearing this from Joe Biden and all these evil, moronic people. We want people, rich people, to pay their fair share. Yeah. Who decides that fair share? Who decides what it's going to be? A bunch of elected jackasses, donkeys, Democrats. Get it? Jackasses, donkeys, Democrats. Get it? Okay. Or do we let it just get rid of the income tax system completely? You know, if you understood the tax code, and if you understand that actually the top 1% pay about 50% of all income taxes, federal income taxes in this country, you'd be amazed. And the top 10% pay like 90% of it, and all the way down to the 50% tile of the people in this country, they pay the remaining 10-15% of all the taxes that go flow into the treasury. The bottom 50% of this country don't pay anything whatsoever but have their hands out and saying, gimme, 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 gimme. And Democrats love those people. They love those people that have their hands out and say, will you make those people that make so much money give me some? And Democrats say, oh, of course. But of course. They say, we will do that, no problem whatsoever. We will take from them because we believe in slavery, and any form of income tax is slavery, no matter if it's 1%, all the way up to 99%. You're a slave to the federal government if you pay income taxes. And all taxes are government theft. That's the libertarian side of me. I'm tired of hearing GOP people and Republicans say, we've got to lower the tax for the middle class. You know, I'm tired of class warfare stuff too. You know what we got to do is we got to get rid of the income tax. We've got to get people free to have their money and spend it the way they want. And what we should do is replace it with maybe a federal sales tax to fund the necessary and required parts of government. See how that would work. And people say, oh, that would never work. Really? Well, the system that we have now doesn't work either. It's pretty well screwed up and it's pretty well ineffective. It doesn't work. So what are we going to do about it? Democrats love taxes. Libertarians don't believe in income tax. And Republicans are too busy worrying about if they can cut, a couple percents off of someone's income tax and say, see, we're doing a good job. No, you're not. You're still manipulating the tax code. You're just as bad as them. Okay, defend our Constitution. Number 7 is defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. This is the First and the Second Amendment argument here, people. Of course, Democrats will step right up there. When I say Democrats, I'm just going to make that a blanket. Okay, Democrats, because it's the socialists, Marxists, communists, fascists, people who don't believe in freedom. We'll just call them the Democrat Party because it's too hard to keep saying it over and over again. And I'll say Republicans and Libertarians because there is a difference in between those two parties. Big difference. Defend our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. I'm watching our Constitution being shredded by the Democrats, especially by the Biden Justice Department, along with Kamala's Justice Department. Look at all the stuff that's gone on in this country that they have targeted and used the FBI like they are the stormtroopers or the SS or the, what do you want to call it, KGB, whatever you want to call it, to intimidate, inflict harm, and destroy people's lives in this country who don't agree with Joe Biden, speak out against him. That is the Democrat Party. The Republican Party says they don't like it, but what have you done to stop it? The easiest way to stop this stuff is very simple. You end the funding that goes into the Justice Department, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, ATF, every one of these branches. The alphabet, all these alphabets need to be defunded, shut down, and restarted. Libertarian side of me says, yeah, and we need to really just decide the limits on the scope of what they're allowed to do even. Because, in the Constitution, there's no such thing as, the FBI or any of those things. Okay, they may be a necessary part of our government, But we need to really to make sure that they're not being used as the weapons that they are today by the Democrat Party. See, the Democrats love using government to mess over people's lives that disagree with them. Libertarians want to get rid of these things that don't belong in there anyway. Republicans are scared to death to take on these people. I don't know why. But we need to take and start moving on this stuff, people. Tick tock, time is running out. Prevent World War III. Well, what are we calling World War III? And restore peace in the Middle East. And build, let me see, what does it say? A great Iron Dome, an Iron Dome missile system shield over our country. And make sure it's all made in the USA. Well, that's a great idea. I think we should. Number one job and responsibility of the federal government is to protect the citizens of the United States. How good is the Biden-Harris administration doing that, and the communist, Marxist, all those guys? Yeah, they're in favor of all these people that are going to war right now. They have stood back and watched because we have weak, feeble leadership. We've watched Putin go into Ukraine. Nothing's been done other than send a lot of money over and make a lot of people in Ukraine billionaires off of our tax dollars. We've watched Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis all become very strong and take on Israel and us in the Middle East because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris funding and giving Iran $100 billion plus in money. World War III is here, people. The only thing that hasn't happened is we haven't broke out the nukes, but what's going to happen the day after, let's pick a time, the day after the election, if Kamala Harris is made there, what do you think is going to happen? I'll tell you right now, it's going to happen. China's going to say, we've been dealing with a feeble one, now we're going to deal with a total idiot. We're going to go into Taiwan and take it back, and we're going to take and institute all kinds of power and authority all through the South China Sea, and we're going to show how we can influence this entire world. Russia will say, "Oh, well, we're just gonna nuke Ukraine and end that problem, and just go and take it back and just make it ours." And Iran will sit there and say, we're just going to take in super fund now, and we're actually just going to go ourselves into Israel and take over much of the Middle East because thank you, Joe Biden, for giving us all that money and having a Kamala Harris idiot as the next president, and who's not going to do anything either because she's too stupid and doesn't care about this country. This is where we're headed, people. Libertarian side of me says we need to do this stuff and protect our nation because that is the function of government. Well, we'll see what happens on that. What's the next one? Number 9. End the weaponization of government against the American people. We've talked a little bit about that before, how the Democrats under Joe Biden and the Merrick Garland Justice Department have decided to target anybody and everybody who speaks out against them, doesn't like them, doesn't agree with them. So how do we stop that? Well, it's really going to be very simple. Fire everybody in the Justice Department. Fire everybody in the FBI and start these things over again until we get some people in there that won't take in be used as tools from the Democrat Party against the American people. Take the FBI building and shut it down, implode it, or turn it into a museum of FBI corruption and show how the FBI has been used by the Democrat Party so everyone go in there and watch how Joe Biden and Democrats have used it to destroy people's lives, people's lives that disagree with the Democrats. That would be a good thing to do. And then take and move the FBI office, its main office, I don't know, in the middle of Omaha, Nebraska. right in the center of the country, so that they don't have, so that the FBI directors, so that the Justice Department, all these people don't have any way of rubbing shoulders with senators and, getting the pat on the back and saying, you're doing such a great job persecuting and prosecuting our enemies. We love you. Keep going. The libertarian side of me is scared to death of these people because they don't care. They hate people who oppose them. They hate the First Amendment, and they try to shut it down, just like Biden has done since he's been president. He does it through the back door. He does it through using Google, Facebook, all these other YouTube, whoever companies are out there, and tells him who to censor, who to get rid of, who to deplatform, all these things. So the Democrats have proven once again that they don't care about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and they like shutting you down and prosecuting you and persecuting you if you disagree with them. If you don't think this is true, go look at the stuff that happened with Hunter Biden's laptop. It was shut down before it was even made public. And then after Joe Biden gets in there, oh yeah, it really is true. Oh, amazing how the coordination works only on one side of the table, Republicans did that, they would be thrown out of office and criminal investigations would be brought. But not if you're a Democrat. Amazing. Yep. Stop the migrant, number 10. Stop the migrant crime epidemic. Demolish the foreign drug cartels. Crush gang violence and lock up violent offenders. What a novel idea. One thing at a time. Stop the migrant crime epidemic. Well, just walking across our border is a crime. Build the wall, stop them from coming in, start deporting them, sending them back to their countries. That will help tremendously. And these Venezuelan gangs that just like beating up on cops and nothing has happened to them from doing that type of stuff, it's very simple. You're here illegally and you commit a crime, any kind of violent crime, you don't have due process rights in this country just because you came here illegally. I don't believe they have a constitutional right to have all these trial things and everything go on. You arrest them, you find out they're here illegally, and then you put them into a tribunal. You put them in front of a real quick court that finds them guilty. We execute them. We're done with them. The drug cartels, the foreign drug cartels, how do we destroy them? Easy. We tell Mexico, we're going to come in with our planes and our people. We're going to destroy these people. Getting our way, we'll put you on the list too. We're done with this stuff. Crush gang violence. Yeah, lock them up. Don't put them in these beautiful penitentiaries. Put them in tent cities. There's a lot of land in this country that could be fenced off. Put some guards on there, tent cities, and make it just as miserable for them as you can. And lock up violent offenders. I have no problem with that. Even the libertarian side of me says, yeah, we have to stop this stuff. Republicans, are you serious about it? Democrats, I know you're not. You have no problem with these people coming in and committing crimes against American citizens. If you did, you would stop it. Let's look at this really quick. 100,000 people die every year because of the border being open and fentanyl coming in killing American citizens. Criminals come in and commit violent, hideous crimes, raping kids, killing them, and you guys don't do anything about it. Your own criminal organizations known as Black Lives Matter and Antifa commit and burn down cities. You, Kamala Harris, go in and raise money to get them out on bail instead of putting them away for the rest of their lives for the disgusting little creeps that they are. That is part of what we have to do. If you commit a violent crime in this nation, would use a weapon. If you're a citizen and you do it, you need to be locked up for the rest of your life. If you're an illegal alien and you do it, you need to be executed. And not talking 6, 10, 12, 15, 20 years down the road. We're talking like 30 days to 60 days out. You commit a crime and you harm a child, you do anything, we take you out. We make sure that the crime is valid, that it happened, and then we stretch your neck, we shoot you, we do something. We don't worry about sending you back home other than in pieces. Unbelievable that we'd even have to be discussing these things. American citizens are being treated like, we're the problems by the Democrat Party. Ugh, so disgusting. Rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, crime, and beautiful again. Crime-free and beautiful again. Safe, clean, and beautiful again. Washington, D.C. has only one purpose in this world. And there's more money in Washington, D.C. and the counties that surround Washington, D.C. than anywhere else. And yet Washington, D.C. has all this crime. It's because of the people who run the city. They are Democrats. City councils, Democrats, the police, the district attorneys, the prosecutors, they're all Democrats. Are you seeing how this works? You want to clean these cities up? Start putting people in jail and quit putting Democrats in charge of any of these things. Once again, the libertarian side says, yep, if you're doing these things and you're destroying these places, you need to be put away. Republicans, yep, we do, and we're doing a 10-point plan. No, once again, you guys, just do the job. Put them away. And Democrats, you're disgusting still. Once again, you're traitors to this nation. You're traitors to the American people. The citizens of this country should have so much better representation than you. Because you just don't care. You just don't care. Okay, strengthen and modernize our military. Yeah, well, that priority's gone out the door in favor of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. And let me see, ESG, and, we can come up with all these kind of different three-letter words, three-letter acronyms that sit there and tell us that basically the purpose of the military for the Democrat Party is to show that we can change things in our social society by using the military too. No, I'm sorry, the military's job is twofold. It only has two jobs. And you may get a queasy stomach, you may get upset, you may not like this. But even us on the libertarian understand this very simple plan. The military, when they're unleashed on our enemies, have one or two jobs, let's say two jobs, to kill people and break things. That's it. They're not Meals on Wheels. They're not delivery systems for social justice. They're not there to be tinkered with, and we're going to try these LGBTQ things out in the military. We're going to have drag queen shows. We're going to have all these things going on in there. That's not their purpose. Their job is to kill people and break things when we tell them to go. China understands that. China's building up with the biggest military in the world. They already have a bigger navy than we do because nobody wants to join the military with all this crap the Democrats have put in play into the military. Nobody wants to be a part of it. Unless you want to go in and you want to have the American taxpayers pay for your sex change, what's happening with a lot of these guys. And then once this all happens, then you're out of the ability to go and prosecute a war for at least 6 months. And then the American taxpayer is on the hook for $10,000 a month in drugs to keep you that way. Totally fair to us. Totally fair, because you have some kind of mental disorder that says you need to change and have someone chop and mutilate your body. The military is not the place for this. And the American citizen, the American taxpayer should not be footing the bill for this stupidity, ignorance, and anything else you want to call it negative about this coming out of the Democrats as they run things. Number 13, make the U.S. dollar the world reserve currency. Maintain, keep, whatever it says, keep the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. It's too late. There's more people, more countries moving towards using the Chinese yuan now. And once that happens, the U.S. dollar loses its ability to have any kind of influence throughout the world, and you'll watch the value of the dollar decline even faster than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done over the last 3 years. In 3 years, the value of the US dollars because of printing presses and spending money like drunken sailors that are communist, Marxist drunken sailors. The value of our dollar has gone down 15 to 20%, while inflation has matched that, gone up 15, 20%, 30% over this same time period. Well, Craig, but they showed the inflation's only gone up 5% over the last year. Yeah, well, the first couple of years it went up like what, 12, 13, 15%. And then the following years it went to like 12, 10, 9, 12, whatever percent. That's on top of that other first 10, 15, 13, 12, whatever percent